Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Kelvin Johnson. This is the part 4 of Windows 11 tutorial inside out I'm doing. In this training, I'm going to show you how to personalize Windows 11. So we are going to be discussing about settings in your Windows 11 versus control panel, which were being used in Windows 7, Windows 8.1, Windows 10, and even in Windows 11 we still have the control panel. I'm also going to show you how to customize the visual appearance of your Windows 11. So we're going to selecting the desktop background. How do we change our desktop background? We're also going to be customizing the lock screen and assigning screen of Windows 11. We're also going to be selecting sounds for events and also configuring our desktop icons. I'm going to show you how to choose a different screensaver than the default screensaver that is being used in Windows 11. And also we'll be setting our date and time, our currency, and other regional options. And then lastly, I'll be showing you how to sync your settings between computers. So when you log on to this device I'm using right now and you configure your settings to sync between all devices, you can as well log into a different device with your Microsoft account and you have all your settings will remain the same. So as you may know, like every previous version of Windows, Windows 11 offers you the different options to personalize your workspace. So these are the choices that makes your computing device feel like it's truly your own personal device. So embodying your own design preference as well as choices that makes your interaction with Windows works for you. So one important thing to note is that if you use multiple computer devices, so that just like I said before, you can actually configure your device to actually sync among this device. You can use your Microsoft account or your Azure Active Directory account, which can give you the option to sync your settings between the different devices. So first of all, what we need to do is, if I go to let me go to my start menu and then I go to settings. Here you can see we have all the settings we can actually use to personalize our Windows and to change. For example, we want to change the IP address, the Bluetooth, the printers, and everything can be actually configured from your Windows settings. But if I just try to open Control Panel, let me just type Control, and I go to Control Panel. You can see that the control panel is still well alive. So probably when you open it for the first time, you're going to get this option which says System Security, Users Account, Appearance and Personalization, Network and Internet, and we can actually change from category to large icons or to small icons. So let me change back to category, and here we have the Appearance and Personalization. You can see we have some different options we can actually do to personalize our device. But all this can actually be performed or carried out from your system settings. And here you can see we have the option called personalization. So here in personalization, you can see we have the different options which we can actually configure to personalize our device. We have the background, color, themes, lock screen, touch keyboard, we have our start, taskbar, fonts, and device usage. So if I go to background here, you can see we have the background. At this moment, you can see I'm using this particular image. Let me just minimize this. You can see that I'm using this particular image as my background image. So if I go back again to my settings under personalization, if I click on background, you can see it says background image and color. So you can see here we have different options. You can see I have the recent images, we have the personalize your background image. So at this moment I'm using actually a picture. So here we can use a slide color, or we can actually use a slideshow to actually personalize our device. So if I select a slideshow, you can see it gives me the option to actually choose a picture album for a slideshow, and it says change pictures every 30 minutes. I can actually change this every 1 minute, every 1 day if you want, or every 10 minutes. Probably I don't think you want to change your pictures every 1 day because you will not be sitting behind your screen 24 hours a day. So here we can actually click browse. So if I click browse, it's going to take me to my folder where I can actually browse for a folder. But mind you, you can't select a specific picture. You need to actually select a folder, and probably you'd have actually moved all your pictures to a folder. So if I go to my File Explorer, I have my saved pictures. You can see that I have some pictures which have actually been moved to this folder. So if by selecting this folder, it's going to actually gives me a slide every, for example, every 1 minute. But let me just change it to a picture, and here you can see we have the different options of picture we can select. So I can select this picture here, and you can see if I minimize my, you can see now I have a very beautiful picture screen as my desktop screen. And also I can decide to change to this screen here. Let me just minimize, and here we go. Or we can decide to change to this as well, and here we have a beautiful screen for our desktop background. So let me just change it back to this image here because this looks very beautiful to me. And then also we have, you say choose a photo. I can decide to actually browse for a specific picture. So by browsing to that picture, I can go to my saved pictures, and here you can see we can decide to actually select one of this picture. Let me just select this picture and choose this picture here. And you can see now we now have this picture which we can decide to select as our screen saver. So it says the recent image. So if I select that and I go back again to my screen, you can see that I have this as my desktop background. But I want to actually change back again to this background here, and then this will be my new background picture. So here we have the option to actually say choose a fit for your desktop image. We have different options here. You see it says fill. I can actually, let me just select fit, and shows you how it looks. You see it fit the screen, but we can actually stretch this as well. So by stretching it, you can see it still actually fits my screen. So we have the different option. Let me just click in fill, or I can actually just click center. So here it says choose your background color. So I can decide to choose a color which will actually match that, but for now I'm just going to go for the fill in, so which is going to select this picture, this image as my background image. So let me also show you how to set image as background image. So for example, if I go to File Explorer, here you can see I have different image. So let's say I want to set this image as my background image. So what I can do is I will just right click on this image, and you can see we have the option to actually set as desktop background. So by clicking set as desktop background, this image will be set as desktop background. So if I go back again to my here, you can see, let me just minimize this. You can see that the image has been set as desktop background. So but if I, for example, if I open this image here in, let me just try to open this in Paint. So if I open this image in Paint, you can see there's the image in Paint, and then I will go to File, and here we have the option set as desktop background. So we can actually set this as desktop background. We have the option to fill, tile, or center. So let me just select fill, and let's see what happens. So if I go back again, you can see this is the image. And again, if I go, let me select this particular image again, and I open this with photos. So when I open this with photos, here you can see we have the 3 dots by say see more actions. So by clicking there, we can set as, we have the set as lock screen or set as background. So by setting this as background, and then if I go back again, let me minimize this, you can see we have the image as our background image. So I can go back again and just select this image as my background image, and when I minimize, you can see I have back my background image. So let me go back to settings again and go back to personalization, where we can actually configure our lock screen. So you see under personalization, then we have the option called lock screen. So lock screen is if, for example, you are not behind your device anymore, after some time your device going to lock screen. So we have the option to actually customize our lock screen. So let me just click on the lock screen, you can see at this moment it says personalize your lock screen. You can see when my screen is locked, this is what I actually get. So we can actually decide to go for a slideshow, or I can actually go for a picture, select a specific picture, and I can say, okay, when I lock my screen, this is the picture I want to see, this beautiful picture here. You can see how my screen is going to look like when I lock it, or I can decide to select this particular screen when I lock my screen. And here we can as well browse for a photo, just the way we did it to change our desktop background. So here I will go to my save pictures, and then I can select a specific picture, and then it will be my lock screen. And we have the option actually to also go for a slideshow. Of course, if you select a slideshow, then you will need to actually browse to select an album, which of course you will need to select. You need to put all your pictures in one folder, because you're going to select a folder as your album. So I'm just going to leave that with a picture. So I just select this is the fourth picture, which is going to be my lock screen. And here we have the option. It says get fun facts, tips and tricks and more on your lock screen. So when you put this on, Microsoft is going to be displaying some facts and tips and tricks during your lock screen. So you'll be seeing some of these facts. Okay, let me just go back again to my stats. Here I'm using a virtual machine actually. So let me just send the Control Alt Delete, and it say, okay, let me just lock my screen, and you can see this is the beautiful screen I get. So after some time, you begin to see some tricks and to get some facts from Microsoft. But let me just try to log on again back to my device. Here you can see that I've just logged on back again to my device. And it says during the lock, it says lock screen status, choose an app to show detailed status on the lock screen. You can see at this moment we have the option calendar, but we can actually browse to show our mail, which means that when you configure your mail in your Windows device and you have your lock screen, when there's an email, you're going to when you receive an email, the mail you receive is going to actually display on your lock screen. And it says show the lock screen background picture on the sign on. So I can actually uncheck this, and let me just go back again to calendar. And what I can do now, let me just try to log back again my screen, send Control Alt, and then lock my screen back. You can see that at this moment, if I decide to log on, you see I'm not seeing any background screen anymore. So my screen is kind of dark without showing me the background screen. So let me log on again. And then I'm going to actually put this on, because I prefer to see that beautiful screen when I try to log on instead of seeing a dark screen. And here we have the option which is called the timeout. So when I click screen timeout, when I click on screen timeout, and you can see that it is going to give me the option. So here you can see when I click on my timeout, so when I click on my screen timeout, you can see I have the options which says sleep is set to never when plugged in, which uses more power. It says allow my device to sleep, or it says allow my screen to turn off. So by this moment, I've already configured this using the control panel settings. If I go to let me just go to my control panel, and let me show you that we have some of the power options. Let me just click on launch icons, and here we have the power options. On the power options, I want to choose when to turn off. You can see that I say turn off the display. I choose never, and put the computer to sleep. I also choose never. So the computer will not go to sleep, or the display will not be turned off if I'm not using my device. And here you can see we have, let me just click this here to see the more options we have. See, when plugged in, turn off my screen after it says never, and put my device to sleep is after it says never. So because I actually configured that in control panel, so all the configuration is actually going to appear also in settings. Here we see we have the option to actually modify the time. I can actually choose 5 hours, and I can choose like 3 hours, put my device to sleep after like 3 hours. So you can actually change that, but let me just put it to never, and for both options. And here you see we have the option. Let me just say sleep is set to never when plugged in, and the screen is set to never turn off. So let me just close that and close that as well. And also the best shortcut or the best way to actually lock your screen is to press the Windows key on your keyboard with combination of L. That is the Windows key plus L. Your screen will be locked. So by doing that, most of the time when I'm working, I just want to leave my device. I just press, instead of going to my start menu and then lock my screen. So with the Windows key and then L, your screen will be locked. So, and also, as you may know that most of the personalization settings are no more in control panel. I just, like for example, when I went to the control panel, so here you can see that I have the appearance and personalization. You can see we don't have much here to actually configure because everything is being moved to your Windows settings. I think Microsoft is doing this so that to allow users to actually familiarize themselves with Windows settings instead of going to work with the control panel. So if I go to my Windows settings, let me just go to my settings, and here if I go to accessibility, so under accessibility, you can see we have the mouse pointer and touch. So if I click on the mouse pointer and touch, you can see we have the different options. So at this moment, I'm using this option of this mouse. You can see with a white background. So I can decide to use the black. You can see my mouse just change, or I can decide to use a more thicker black, which says inverted, or I can use this custom mouse as well. You can see that we can change the color of the mouse. I can decide to give it a green color or a yellow color. I can also choose another color if I wish. So we can decide to go for a pink. Let me just choose, let me see if we have more different color here, light orange, and say done. So now we have light orange, so you can see that my color has just changed. And also for the size of the mouse, we can actually just shift here to make it more bigger. You can see that the more I shift it, the more bigger it becomes. But now my mouse just disappeared, which of course I don't think is handy for you to be using such a big mouse. So let me try to actually move my mouse back, because I think of course it's not handy to use such a big mouse. So I just actually changed my mouse. I paused this video and actually changed it because my mouse was just so big that it doesn't give me the option to actually control the mouse pointer anymore. So here you can see we can actually make our mouse more bigger, but I think be careful to not to make it more the mouse pointer much bigger, because you may not be able to control your mouse anymore. So we have the option. It says show a cycle on the screen where I touch it. So you can see I can actually put this off, and I can put it back on. It says make the cycle darker and large. So I can just check this, and you can see. So when you set to actually go to some apps and a program, so you have the option to make the cycle darker and larger. So here you can see we have the option called mouse pointer speed, primary button, and scrolling. So let me just click on that, and you can see we have the mouse speed. At this moment you can actually adjust. It's at 10, but we can actually adjust it. We have our primary mouse button, which is left. We can actually choose right. So if I right click, for example, if I right click on my screen here, you can see I have the different ads. But if I choose right, so right now if I try to left click, I can't. You can see that my menu just changed. So the best option right now is very confusing, is to use left, because I'm actually used to that. So as you can see that now I can actually click again using the left mouse button on my mouse, and not the right, which of course it makes it look very weird. So here we have the mouse point speed. We can actually increase or decrease it, and the lines to scroll at a time, you can see at this moment it's actually set to 3, but we can move it to more options. If you roll the mouse wheel to scroll, you can see we have multiple lines at once, one screen at a time. So be careful before you actually adjust this, because it makes your maybe for example you are used to working in a particular way. So by modifying these options here, may actually change the way your mouse behave. And here we have additional mouse settings. So if I click on that, you can see we can actually the speed, we can actually make it more faster. We can just leave it at the standard or the default options. So we can actually switch, say, primary and secondary buttons. You can see we have the option to actually switch, and I'm going to actually just leave that here, because right now I need to use my right mouse button instead. So we have the options. Also we have the pointer. You can see we have the different pointer to use, and we have the pointer options, have the wheel, and also we have the hardware of the mouse. So let me just go back again here to my Bluetooth on device, and here we have the mouse, the button mouse speed and roll. So we can actually just click on this to increase, or let me just leave it at 10, and then go back again to my personalization, to my accessibility. So let me just try to change my mouse pointer back again to its default black, so which of course is standard, or we can just actually select the black, but I'll prefer to actually use the white, which of course is more easier and you can actually see. But if you think you're not seeing it very well, you want to actually select the dark one, you can use, as you may know now, you can actually select a different color as well. And also let me show you some other ways which we can make some other small virtual tweak to make your device run faster. You know, as it says, Windows is alive with little animations, such as when you open or close a window. Along with other effects, this can help to direct your focus to the current windows or activity. But sometimes some people find it very annoying, and it can actually make your device very slow. So if I go to my Finder settings and I type performance, so here we have, let me just tap performance. We have adjust the appearance and performance of Windows. So if I click that, you can see we have the different options here. Oh, let me just change my mouse again to the white one. So you can see we have the different options, which says select the settings that you want to use for the appearance and performance of Windows on this computer. You can see we have different options which have been selected. It says animate, control, and elements inside Windows, animate Windows when minimizing and maximizing, animation in the taskbar. So all these actually, which is of course is beautiful, but it can make your device a little bit slower. So if you are trying to make your device more faster, you can actually adjust one of the settings, uncheck some of the things you just feel, show thumbnails instead of icons. You can actually just remove that if you think it's not necessary anymore, to make your device run a little bit faster. So well, I just want to show you that I'm not going to actually modify anything. I'm using actually a virtual device on my personal laptop, which I'm also using right now to connect to a remote desktop. I've actually modified some of the settings to make my device run a little bit faster. So let me just close this, and also let me try to show you a particular thing I will be discussing about next. So if you look at your Windows desktop screen, you can see we have the recycle bin. So when you upgrade your device from Windows 10 to Windows 11, you can see we only have just this desktop, this recycle bin actually on our desktop. Well, this Microsoft Edge is actually, when you install Windows, this Edge is actually placed on your desktop by default. And we have our Kelvin, which is actually our OneDrive folder, which actually moves myself to the desktop screen. You know, when you actually do a fresh or a clean install Windows 11 desktop, as opposed to one generated by an upgrade installation, include a single only just the recycle bin there. So if you want to display other system icons to be displayed on your desktop, so what you need to do is you need to go to settings, and on that settings, we actually need to go to our personalization, and here we have the themes. So just click on themes. So in themes, we have the option called the desktop icon settings. You can see at this moment we only have the recycle bin, which is being displayed on your desktop. So what I want to do right now is I want to actually, let me just select computer, and for example I want to select the network and control panel. But as well, we can actually change the icon of this if we want. You can see it says look for the icon in this file. So we have different icon which we can select, and we can actually just scroll here and then select the different icon we want to use. But let me just click apply and let's see what happens. So if I go back again to my desktop, you can see at this moment we now have some extra desktop icons which are now being displayed on our screen. You can see we have this PC, we have the network, we have a control panel, and we have the recycle bin. So if I include the user's file and I click apply, you can see we have our user's file, which of course is Kelvin, and this one is actually from OneDrive, and this is my user's file folder. So if I double click on that, this is going to take me to all my files, all my folders, and other apps like my pictures and download. So let me just close that back again, and you can see, let me just uncheck this, uncheck the network, and I think I can leave the control panel and computer for the moment, and you can see we have just this option I have selected. So I can actually restore to default, and by restoring to default, it will try to actually see which was the last modification you did before it will actually try to restore to default. But this was just the 3 modification I did before I click apply, and definitely it's going to just only display this 3 options. And also it says allows teams to change desktop icons. So which means that if you go to your under your Windows settings, the themes there will give you the option to actually allow you to change the icon, the desktop icon. So if I uncheck that, I will not be able to actually allow themes to change my desktop icon. So I'm just going to apply and then click OK. So next, let me actually discuss about the time and date on your Windows 11 device. You know, Windows uses your country, region, and language settings to provide some personalized content and for regional formats such as the way date, times, and numbers are displayed, and which measurement system is preferred. So you can actually review the current format by looking at the samples on that format, which uses the format you set here for displaying date and time. So if I go to my here, you can see I have the date and time here. On that, you can see we have the Wednesday, which is actually a long date, 4th of August. So if I click here, you can see I have more options to show the calendar. But if I go to my Windows settings, here we have the option, which you can see we have the option called time and language. And under time and language, we have the option date and time. So here under date and time, you can see we have the current date and the time, and also it says set the time automatically, which means that if you are living in a region whereby the times or the day changes or the time changes, for example from the winter to the summertime, automatically it's going to always change. So if you actually uncheck this, which means that you have to do it manually, so I'll actually advise you to always leave this on. And you can see my time zone is actually for Brussels and Copenhagen and Madrid, so which means because I live in Belgium, so I'm going to actually be selecting this time. So you can actually check your region. If for example you live in West Africa, you can actually select the different time zone of your region. And here we have, we say we can actually click on a language and region, but we have, let me just click on the language and region so actually get some other options. Here you can see we can actually add a language, and as I said before, the country or region you select will determine the way your language, your time is going to be displayed. So let me go back again to my time and language, and then we select date and time. And here we can actually say click additional clock. So you can see we have date and time. You can see at the moment I can actually change my date and my time if I want to change that, and also we can actually change our time zone to a different time zone if we wish. And then here we have our internet option. We can say the clock was successfully synchronized with timewindows.com. So I can actually click change settings. So here I can actually select a different server if I want to, and then I'll click update now. But I'm going to leave it like that, and you can see that it says synchronize with an internet time server. So here I can actually go to additional clock, and here I can click the show this clock and then add additional clock to be displayed here as well. So I'm just going to check that at this moment. So I just want to show you that we have the option to add additional clock, and also we can go to the internet to synchronize our time from an internet time server. So let me just click cancel, and then just click cancel again and do modify anything, and then we can just go back to our system. So lastly, in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to sync your settings between two or more computers. So when you sign in using a Microsoft account or an Azure Active Directory account to your Windows 11, Windows 11 offers the capability to synchronize settings between two or more computers. So when you sign on a new device using that account, Windows retrieves those personalized options from Microsoft OneDrive and applies them to the new device. So to manage synchronization option, what we need to do is we need to go to our settings, and then here we need to click account. So we have the option called Windows Backup. So if I go to Windows Backup, here we can see that because I've already configured my account, let me go back again to my account. You can see that I've already configured my account to be to this device to actually synchronized to Microsoft. So what I need to just do is when I go to Windows Backup, you can see I have the option to actually says remember my preference, and at this moment remember my preference is actually turned on. So I can, let me just click on that. You can see it says password, language preference, and other Windows settings. And here also remember my apps. So get quick access to your apps on any device. So which means that when I log on to any device, my password, language preferences, and also my apps, not the apps actually installed on this device, but the default apps from Microsoft, which are actually configured on this Windows device, will be configured on my new device. So the only thing you just need to do, if for example you don't want your settings to be synchronized with other devices, the only thing you just need to do is just turn this off, and definitely you can see your password, language preference, and other settings will not synchronize with other device. Thank you very much for taking your time to watch this video. My name is Kelvin Johnson, and please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more IT videos. So this is actually part 4 of the Windows 11 tutorial inside out I'm actually doing. So I'll be doing a part 5, which is going to be in the next video. So you can click on this on the link below to go to the next video, which I'll be discussing about managing updates. So as you may know, I have done actually part 1, part 2, part 3, and this is actually part 4 of our Windows 11 tutorial. So I'm actually going to show you everything you need to know about Windows 11. And if you follow this training from the beginning, from part 1 to about part 17, you're going to be a guru in Windows 11. You're going to learn everything you need to know about Windows 11, from your basic configuration to your advanced level. So in a manage Windows update, I'm going to show you some cool features actually which will make you feel like a Windows expert on how to manage your Windows update. Thank you very much for taking your time to watch this video, and please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more IT videos. If you have any question about Windows 11, you can always send me a personal email or leave a comment below in the comment section, and I'll reply to you as quick as possible. So also take your time to give me a thumb up, and I will also appreciate if you can just click the next video and watch the part 5 of this training video. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye.